bastard alien daughter was sold to a human widower. But what happened on their first night shocked everyone. The auction house reeked of desperation and disinfectant. Beneath the flickering bioluminescent panels, Zira stood on the platform with her head bowed, her violet skin marked with the branded sigil that declared her status. Hybrid bastard, unfit for Calreth society. Her pointed ears drooped as the auctioneer's voice boomed through the chamber, listing her qualities like livestock attributes. Strong constitution, fertile, docile temperament, perfect for labor or companionship. The crowd of various species muttered and gestured, but few showed real interest. Hybrids were considered cursed, neither fully Calreth nor whatever species had mingled in her bloodline. Her mother had been executed for the shame of it. Now at 17 cycles, Zira faced her own fate. Then a human raised his hand. The room fell silent. Humans were rare this far into the outer territories, and this one looked particularly out of place. Thomas Caldwell stood in worn work clothes, his weathered face framed by graying hair and a thick beard. He didn't look like the wealthy traders or pleasure seekers who usually attended these auctions. Sold to the human for 300 credits, the auctioneer announced, clearly disappointed by the low bid. Zira's chains were transferred to Thomas's rough, calloused hands. He didn't yank them or inspect her like the previous potential buyers. Instead, he simply nodded toward the exit. Come on, then. His ship was a battered cargo hauler called the Remembrance, barely spaceworthy by modern standards. As they boarded, Zira's legs trembled. She knew what came next. The auction house had been explicit about her duties to whoever purchased her. Thomas led her through narrow corridors to a small but clean quarters. A bed dominated the space, and Zira's blood ran cold. This was it, the moment she'd been dreading since her mother's death. You'll sleep here, Thomas said, his voice gruff but not unkind. He moved to leave. Zira's confusion manifested as a strangled sound. I don't understand, human. Thomas paused at the doorway, his broad shoulders tense. Name's Thomas. And there's nothing to understand. You'll have your own space. But I was sold to you. I'm your property. The word tasted like poison. You have rights to... I have the right to treat you like a person. Thomas interrupted, his voice harder now. Which is what you are. That's where those rights end. For the first time since her mother's execution, Zira felt tears burn in her eyes. Why did you buy me? Thomas was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried an ocean of grief. My wife and daughter died 3 years ago. Plague outbreak on Kepler Station. I couldn't save them. He finally turned to face her, and Zira saw the wetness in his own eyes. When I saw you up there, branded and broken, I saw my daughter. She'd be about your age now. So I'm a replacement? Zira asked, uncertain whether to feel relieved or insulted. No, Thomas said firmly. You're Zira, and on this ship you're free. I bought you because it was the only way to get you out of that hell. But you don't owe me anything except honest work if you're willing to give it. That first night, Zira lay in the bed, her bed, unable to sleep. She waited for Thomas to change his mind, to come through the door with different intentions. But he never came. Instead, she heard him through the thin walls, sobbing quietly in his own quarters. In the morning, Thomas taught her how to work the ship's hydroponics bay. His hands were patient, his instructions clear. He never touched her without asking first. Never raised his voice. When she made mistakes, he simply showed her the correct way again. You're good at this, he remarked on the third day, watching her calibrate the nutrient solution. Natural green thumb. On Calreth, hybrids aren't allowed to learn trades, Zira said quietly. We're only fit for disposal. Thomas's jaw clenched. Well, you're not on Calreth anymore. You're on the Remembrance, and here everyone pulls their weight and gets treated with dignity. Over the following weeks, word spread through the outer territories about the human who'd bought a slave only to free her. Other humans contacted Thomas asking if the story was true. Some called him a fool. Others called him a saint. Thomas called himself neither. I'm just a widower who knows what loss feels like, he told anyone who asked. And I'll be damned if I let another creature suffer when I have the power to stop it. The real shock came when Zira chose to stay. Thomas had gathered enough credits to buy her legal freedom, actual documentation that would stand in any territory. He presented her with the papers and a choice. You can go anywhere you want, he said. I'll give you enough credits for passage wherever you choose. Zira looked at the freedom papers, then at Thomas. then at the ship that had become her home. She thought of the hydroponics bay where things grew under her care, the small quarters where she slept without fear, the gruff human who had shown her that not all beings were cruel. "I choose to stay," she said, "if you'll have me as crew, as family." Thomas's weathered face crumpled and he pulled her into a careful embrace the first time he'd hugged her. "I'd be honored, kiddo." The galaxy had expected darkness from that first night. They'd expected exploitation, cruelty, the usual horrors that followed such transactions. Instead, they witnessed something the cynical universe had almost forgotten: simple human decency. And that more than any weapon or technology, shocked them most of all.